Hello and welcome to the second installment of Letch, where we letch information from those we can benefit from talking to. It's a series where we talk to people who have influenced our lives in some way, big or small. And today, I think it's safe to say, someone that has influenced our lives in a positive way, and I would say in a big way. I would think.
I agree. Yeah.
When I first we're sitting here with Lynette Scavo of Clark State University.
Yeah, interestingly enough, has the same name as
the character Lynette Scavo. Yeah, it's perhaps based off of the hit Desperate Housewives character played by Felicity Huffman.
Yeah,
we don't really know, but when we mutually took a class at Clark State a few summers ago in our PSEO days, and it was a great chemistry course taught by this younger eccentric. Now, before I had taken this class, because the summer before that I had taken some PSEO classes for English and those sorts of things, and I always remember this professor, Lynette, would walk into the classroom, and I used to think, she's a bitch. Like, I could just tell.
Really?
Because she was always just kind of like, that's what I thought.
On our biology PSEO classes.
Yeah. She would walk in and she would just walk straight up to the teacher, and she would be like, saying something, probably like, I can't wait to go home, and like, I hate students. And she's wearing
usually a
velour tracksuit back in those days, and I was just like, wow. I was like, and because I remember it was back when she always talked about how she didn't like teaching physical science because she was teaching the lower echelons, really, and I could tell that and I always was like, man, she really hates this place. I was like, she hates physical science. But then I register for chemistry at Clark State, and I'm like, oh no, like, it's Lynette Scavo. Like, here we go. She's gonna be angry. And I walked in, and I remember it was the first time that it wasn't a velour tracksuit. And I remember it was like a nice first day of school outfit, and I was like, okay, like, and she looked so happy, and she was like laughing. I was like, clearly something has happened between last year and this year for Lynette. But we had a great, I think we had a great, I don't think we were in the same class.
We were in the same class.
Yeah, but I think mutually had great times in the class, learned a lot. But what I actually learned was that Lynette Scavo, good person.
Yeah, I agree.
There were times
I didn't have these like preconceived notions about her, I don't think.
Well, I exaggerated most of the preconceived notions.
Yeah, okay.
but I remember, and then after the class, I would just skip class, go to Lynette Scavo's class.
Yeah, I was a good kid.
I was supposed to be in sociology with Jordan Shoemaker, who also taught at Clark State, and but I wouldn't go to class. So why I would then drive to the Clark State campus instead of just staying home, I don't know.
Well, I actually did that. When I took PSU classes, I would just drive to Clark State, so my parents thought I was going there, and I just sit in my car.
But anyway, so we're here. We're at there.
I don't want to go.
We're at the Scavo household at the kitchen table with Lynette herself and her wonderful husband Tom. So hello, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the.
So I've been trying to get this interview for months.
Yeah.
Yes.
But some people just. Yeah, it was when we were in the conception stage of the show. This is one of the first names was Lynette Scavo. So that's good.
You were in a short list.
Yeah,
you were in a short list of about 5 people.
Yeah, we don't know. After we hit those 5, we don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Then we'll probably branch out to people who we just know. Maybe they didn't have an impact on us, but we just know them. Yeah. So anyway, the way that we do it is it's basically to know, I guess, your life story.
Okay.
So where did it all start for Lynette Scavo?
How far back do you want me to go?
As far back as you want.
Yeah. Where were you born?
Am I supposed to be honest?
Well, yeah.
Middletown.
Yeah, of course.
Middle Tucky, as we call
Middletown, Ohio.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I've never been there.
It's
I think I've been there.
It's a mix of Kentucky and West Virginia.
It's a steel town.
It is a steel town.
Is that by Cincinnati?
It is halfway
Halfway.
between Dayton and Cincinnati. That's why they call it Middletown.
That makes sense.
Yes. So it's a very... It's a lot like Clark County, actually, as far as the makeup population.
Blue collar, salt of the earth.
Yes.
A lot of Republicans.
Yes, exactly.
So were you raised Republican?
Country. No.
Really?
My parents did not tell me how they voted. They would not speak of
Those type.
politics around me. Turns out they were Democrats.
Oh, well, that's good.
But yeah, they never spoke a word of who they voted for. And then when I asked, they said, it's none of your business.
So even to this day,
Oh, now they're very open about it.
Oh,
But
okay.
when I
But
was
when
growing up, they didn't want to influence me, and they would not tell me anything.
Interesting.
So, it was okay.
they should have just indoctrinated you from clearly they did. Somehow they did.
That's what we've done
Yeah.
with our kids.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the only way. That was one of the that's the question that I actually asked you one year. I was like, how do I make my kids Democrats and non-believers without telling them that you have to be a Democrat?
Well, I mean, it only worked on me because my brother and sister ended up being Republicans, at least for a while, and now they just don't vote.
Oh,
Either
good.
one of them.
Yeah. Well, as long as they're not voting for Republicans, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it all works out.
Yeah.
So how was your childhood?
My childhood, I was the third kid, the youngest, and kind of the accident. So I was the one they were kind of too busy to do stuff with.
Reckless, jumping off the roof with a cape
Tomboy.
What?
Yes.
Skating off a ramp, breaking
Yes.
your
You were a
arm.
skateboarder.
Roller skates.
Ah.
Yeah, I was trying
So
to.
like some jackass stunts.
Yes. Yeah, that was
Jumping
pretty
off
crazy.
the roof with a cape.
Well, usually not with a cape.
just
Yeah.
normal
Did you have
jumping
an
off the
umbrella?
roof.
You used an
Oh
umbrella?
yeah, I wanted to see if I could fly.
Mary
I
Poppins.
tried to make like parachutes, and I wanted to slow my descent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Early physics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
you-
working on it way back then.
Science at an early age.
I used to do that, but I didn't want to get hurt, so I just threw like eggs.
Yeah, but yeah, the roller skating, I was trying to do a flip. You know, I wanted to come down this driveway really fast and hit the bottom, and we had little ramps and stuff. I used to do ramps on bikes and roller skates, and yeah, I was quite the tomboy. But yeah, I broke my arm doing that. I didn't break anything jumping off the roof. That went okay. Let's see, what else?
And what were your parents doing this whole time?
Oh, they weren't home. You know, they would
So they
leave
were
me
at work.
with my brother.
Were they working or
They were
just,
working. Yes, they
What
worked.
did they do?
My dad he worked at the steel plant,
Okay.
and he was a maintenance man.
He
He had to
repaired the cranes.
climb 200 feet in the air and repair cranes hanging.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And my mom worked for the same company for a while, but eventually for the school that I went to, and yeah, they were never home all summer, so it was my brother
And there's a swimming
in
pool.
charge of me who was less responsible than I was. And yet we had a swimming pool, so it's amazing we didn't drown. Because we had a diving board, and I did all kinds of crazy stuff off of that.
So your brother was supposed to be watching you,
Oh, yeah.
but was he just like in his room talking to girls
He was
or
probably
boys?
just
Can't
not
assume.
home.
Not home.
Yeah.
He's a bad
We're in
kid.
bed.
Is he a bad boy? He seems like a
he's
bad boy.
No, he just didn't care.
The primary makings of a bad boy.
Yeah, that's a bad boy in my eyes.
Oh, yeah?
Doesn't listen to parents. Doesn't watch
Doesn't follow
siblings.
rules.
At least be in the house, man. I mean, at least be in the house.
I don't think he was even given orders to really keep an eye on me.
Oh well, then there you go.
It was
off
me
the
on
hook.
my own.
He's off the hook.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He was okay.
Did you have imaginary friends?
I did.
Really?
I didn't have any names for them, though. Like, you know, I just,
They just existed.
yeah. Because I didn't see a lot of kids when I was, you know, hanging out. When I was really young.
Yeah.
And then later, it was me and my cat.
Oh, yeah, you've always been a cat person.
Yes. my cat. He would follow me around, keep me company.
What was his name?
Sam.
Sam.
Yes.
Did you walk him on a leash?
I did. And when I didn't walk him, he would follow me. So
Well.
yeah. So then, yeah, I got through alive, elementary and middle school, and into high school, and then I was busy doing sports and stuff, and I broke my arm again.
My goodness.
Doing, that was gymnastics and.
What kind of sports did you do in high school?
I had to run cross country because my dad was the coach, and he said, "How would it look if I'm the coach and my daughter doesn't run?" And I hated it.
I bet.
And I did not want to run. And I did track, which was okay. I like track. And I cheered basketball just so I could tumble.
Cheerleader.
That was so I could do gymnastics.
You had to be a cheerleader to do gymnastics?
Yeah, because I got to keep taking stuff at the Y to practice. And I could do it during the games and all that. Really, the cheerleading thing, I wasn't wild about. Especially the other girls. Too much drama. Yeah. But my main goal was to get out of Middletown. So I wanted to graduate and move on and go to Ohio State was where I ended up. And that was some pretty crazy times at Ohio State.
You did gymnastics there, and the guy dropped you.
Oh, well, yeah, that was an acro class. There was supposed to be some guy spotting me, and the guy that was holding me up lost balance, and then the guy that was supposed to catch me didn't catch me, and I landed on my butt, and
ow.
Yeah, that was a
so
pinched nerve.
He literally dropped you, because I thought he dropped you from the team, but he literally
that's what I
dropped you.
Literally, I hit the ground, and
Oh my God.
yeah, and woke up. I went home and laid down in my dorm, and woke up a few hours later and couldn't walk, but I was paralyzed. That was scary. That was really scary, because apparently I pinched a nerve and it swelled, like my spine swelled, and it was just enough to make me so I couldn't move my legs, but it was temporary.
It's absolutely terrifying.
It was.
And all because that guy he just wasn't paying
He was
attention?
talking to somebody. Yeah.
So he wasn't actually doing his job. A common occurrence when back for you, apparently your brother not doing his job. Now you're the spotter not doing his job.
Yep.
Could have paralyzed you.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was scary. I had back problems after that because of that. So then, yeah. What else do you want to know about college?
What did you do in college?
I went in as a pre-vet major and found out that a whole lot of other people do too, and ended up in classes with 800 people that were either pre-vet or pre-med. Yeah.
In one class?
Like in a chemistry class,
Are
you'd
you
have
exaggerating?
800. No, I'm
And
not.
were all these people in the large animal division?
Well, there would be, this is freshman year, so you're
It's
in
like
with
an intro,
pre-med,
yeah.
pre-vet, and yeah, it's all like just gen eds for science
to weed
majors.
people out.
Yes.
And did they teach you at the football stadium?
It was
Because I can't imagine 800
it's
people
a
in one
lecture
room.
hall, just a
Wow.
giant lecture hall, and if you didn't get there early, you would sit in the back and you would not hear anything. And they didn't have, the technology that we have today. This is 1991.
So they were screaming.
Actually, they just talked normal, and you just couldn't hear if you didn't get an early seat. So I kind of quit going to class because you'd show up for the exam, and it would be 100 questions that you couldn't possibly get done in an hour. So I got like B's just by answering every question. There's all these people that were trying really hard. They'd only get through 20 out of 100, and they'd fail. But they'd do a bell curve, so I'd be up here.
Wow.
Up here, and it was worked for me. Test taking skills.
Exactly.
These are
Didn't
things
have
I
to
wish
know
I would have
anything.
known before I went to college.
Yeah.
Except I'm the biggest class I was in, 40 to 50.
Yeah. That's
I
better.
couldn't imagine being
Yeah,
800.
800. And yeah, I feel like that's the worst for like the student experience.
Oh, it was terrible.
I wouldn't want that.
It was a cattle call. And I remember when I decided to change my major and I went to the guidance thing that was about 1.5 miles away from the dorms. You had to walk. That was fun. But you go and you wait in line and you go up to the counter when it's your turn, and they didn't care about what your name was. They want to know what's your social security number.
Wait a minute, so you're not sitting across a desk from a counselor and...
Well, eventually they call you in,
Okay.
but when you're checking in, it's what's your social security number. They never even talk to you about
Wow.
your name and who you are.
Really?
It may be different now, but back then it was you're a number and let's get you through, and they really
Next.
don't want to hear your
Wow.
problems. They just, what do you want? And then get you out of here. And that's why it was really hard to find out, like, what classes am I supposed to take? You know, what are my options? What are my majors, you know, that I have to choose from? And they hand you a piece of paper, here, pick off of here. It was not a personal experience at all. So then I eventually transferred to Wright State.
Because at Ohio State, it's just a money factory at
It
that
was.
point. Yeah.
It was
That's what
really
sounds like.
cheap.
But all they cared about was whether you were enrolled in classes and gave them money.
Yes. And it was
Is what it sounds like.
yes, big party time. And you'd watch people drop like flies. I mean, every quarter we had 3 quarters. So after first quarter, we had Christmas break, come back, whole bunch of people are missing because they flunked out.
Yeah.
And then the second quarter came back after spring break, a whole bunch more were missing. And then when we came back the next year, there was barely anybody left that we knew. I mean, literally, I probably met 2,000 people the first year I was there.
God.
Just seeing it, like in our own dorm, there were hundreds of people that you would meet, but then all these people in classes, and then you'd go to other dorms and different groups of friends, and it was overwhelming
Is
going
this
from
Wright State or Ohio State?
this is Ohio State.
Okay.
So I went from a little tiny school
Right.
to this, 60,000 people on campus. It was mind blowing, and parties everywhere, and whatever you
bet.
could go bowling at 3 a.m. We went to a diving well at midnight. This stuff was open just all the time, 24/7.
So were you into the party stuff, or?
Oh yeah. Well, I trained.
For gymnastics.
I trained for the partying. My
Oh,
brother-in-law, who was my sister's husband, who lived in Reynoldsburg, and he's actually a politician. He trained me how to drink and handle my alcohol, so that when I went to parties, I couldn't get taken advantage of.
Oh,
and it
well, that's
worked.
good, I guess. So he had good intentions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a bad man.
I was just going to say, just another bad boy.
I think his intention really was he wanted to have somebody to have fun with, because my sister happened to be pregnant that summer
Oh.
and couldn't drink with him.
Ah,
And he still likes to drink. He's
Oh.
a Jack Daniels man.
oh.
But yeah, it did work, because I had guys try to do that, get me drunk and take
What?
advantage of me, and they would end up sick before I.
Because you knew how to handle.
Even how
What
to
was the
buzz.
secret then? What was
what's the secret?
What, as far as
Regular
just,
drink.
Yeah, like.
just training. I had to do
Oh,
it
so you're
regularly.
saying, so you just had a high tolerance.
I had
'cause
a
you
high
drank lot.
tolerance.
Okay, I see.
Yes.
Okay. I thought maybe it was like if you
Yeah,
water in one hand and beer in the other, you'll never
Nope.
get drunk. Like,
I just had experience.
I see. Okay. And so he's at how does he? So he's just like, come on, we're just gonna go drink, and then when you go to college, you won't get taken advantage of.
Well, he didn't really phrase it that way, but that's certainly how it worked out.
Well, that's good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't. It's so strange to me. Joe Biden talks about this all the time. Like, if you're drunk, it's rape. People don't care. Apparently, like that girl who had to carry around her mattress that she was raped on in college, and because the
What?
school wouldn't do anything about it, so she carried it around as a symbol for and they just didn't do anything about it. Didn't care.
Wow.
So at least,
I was bound to determine not to let anything happen to me.
yeah. Well, and
I was just
Well, I was gonna say-
a bit too mean, anyways.
I was gonna say he got kickboxing, but that's not gymnastics.
No.
It's not gymnastics.
But I was pretty ornery. I think I could have handled myself.
Well, that's good. And so, when you got to Wright State, did you change your major?
Yes, I changed to education. I had all these
Okay.
science classes behind me, so I went with chemistry education. And it was a much better experience. My very first chemistry class there was 42 people.
Oh, okay.
And it was taught by a guy from the Air Force, and he was the best professor I'd had yet.
Wow.
And I was actually learning things, and I took tests that reflected what we did in class, so that was awesome. Instead of just random questions from, 6 chapters out of a book,
Right.
and tests so big that you couldn't answer everything. So
did
Wright
you-
State was better.
Were you passionate about chemistry, or it just kind of happened that way?
Well, my mom, after I said I need to get out of Ohio State, this isn't working out, and I had a bunch of friends at Wright State, and I was switching, and she said, well, we need to look at what should you be majoring in. So she had me tested. I went through this...
like a career aptitude test?
Yeah, kind of. This woman gave me all kinds of stuff. I mean, even dexterity, and they tested you on musical ability, and it was really pretty interesting to find out all that stuff. But she told me that she recommended the education thing. She said you should be in a position where you're in charge. We had talked about maybe, being like a physician's assistant or something. She said, you're not going to want to be told what to do. She said, that's a personality trait that I have, that I need to be in charge of my own space, and because of my science aptitude, that chemistry was a good way for me to go. And I actually thought about art education too, like dual major. And I had an art teacher at Ohio State that was really good, and he tried to talk me into doing more. But I had ruptured a tendon in my right hand, and it was unreliable. Like,
so you couldn't do it like professionally?
Yeah, I was like, some days I can't draw at all and can't paint and whatever. So I decided not to go that route. But yeah, the chemistry education, I got recommended by a woman that did my testing.
And so then you just kind of, as it progressed, you were just like, yeah, I do like this.
Yes, I did.
That was the first case of anyone I know, like, taking an aptitude test and just going through with it. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was fun.
There was
2 days, actually.
There's some show that I was watching, and it was Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It's on Netflix. And she took a career aptitude test because she didn't know what she should major in college. And the test came back crossing guard. And so she was like super excited to go to like school to be a crossing guard. And the school was like, we don't have a crossing guard program. And so I haven't finished to figure out what happens, but I don't think she's going to be a crossing guard. But she might be. But yeah, as always, yeah, it's interesting. But it's interesting that some lady just was like, chemistry teacher, and
you're like, okay.
And that you actually... Now, did you actually like it, or are you
just
trying to make her look better, or do you actually like chemistry teaching?
Yes.
Okay.
I do, but I do think I prefer physics. I prefer the math.
Yeah, stoichiometry. Tell me about it.
That was easy math.
Okay.
Canceling units.
I was like, okay.
How hard is
you
that?
say so. You say it was easy.
But yeah, and then I couldn't get a job in chemistry. It happened that, I could. I turned one down that was going to be, I turned two down that were going to be city jobs, like not good positions.
Wait, you skipped the seminal moment of your life.
What? Meeting you?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to definitely ask about that. I want the gushy,
that was
details.
Pretty crazy stuff. I was living by myself, and my parents were in the process of moving from one house to another. So their mail, or my mail that went to them, and because I hadn't lived in this apartment long enough to have Wright State. No, this is when I'm at Wright State. But I apparently got sent some information about some observation that's like pre-student teaching, and I didn't get it. And I found out the week before that I was supposed to go to Milton Union and be in a classroom with somebody, and this was Christmas break, right? So I'm waiting tables at Red Lobster, and I'm supposed to be working all week. And I find out the week before that, you're supposed to be in this classroom for the entire week. So I had to go and trade shifts and get all this stuff worked out so that I could do this. So I'm already kind of pissed off.
You had to update your wardrobe.
Yeah, I had to go get clothes because I didn't have anything appropriate to wear to a classroom.
As a teacher,
yeah. This was all a total surprise to me, and
So you said as an observation, so you were just sitting there, you weren't actually student teaching.
40 hours of sitting and watching a teacher do their thing.
And talk to the teacher.
And talk to the teacher, and yeah. And so I show up at, and this is the other thing. I mean, I'm on, the college schedule. I'm used to working until midnight and not going to bed until 3 in the morning. And here I have to be at this place that's 45 minutes from my apartment at, 7 in the morning. Yeah, I wasn't a real pleasant person at that point. I show up in the office where I'm told to go, and there's no teacher that wants me. Literally, they didn't. The guy that
all you had to do is sit there.
The professor that was supposed to set me up, he didn't tell me ahead that the chemistry teacher didn't want me there.
Okay.
So he said, just go to the middle school.
He's a jerk.
No, it was a she, and she was a jerk too.
She was, yeah, she was. I wouldn't have wanted to be with her anyways. That would have been awful. Yeah, I had to work with her later. But so I show up to the office at the middle school. That's what
Who told you to go to the middle school?
Larry Chance,
Okay.
the professor, who did not set me up with an actual teacher, says, go to the middle school, and they'll find a place to put you. That's where his wife worked, right? Or something like that.
She was in elementary.
Oh, okay. Well, I show up, and
She was disgruntled.
I was disgruntled, yes. I talked to the principal, and he says, go to the high school. And I said, I wanted to go to the high school, and I'm not wanted there, so I was told to come here, and I refused to leave.
She was kind of mildly creating a scene.
I'm not leaving.
I didn't raise my voice or anything. I just said, just put me somewhere. And he happened to be working there.
Oh.
In the
I was
office.
taking attendance in the office.
Yes. And he had observers before, right?
Yes, it wasn't pleasant.
In fact, do you want to explain why you didn't
why
want
is it-
another observer?
Yeah.
I don't know. It always seemed like there was a personality. I'm pretty flexible, but I would get the craziest people in there. One wanted to argue with me about why I had no business having a poster on the wall that had evolution. You know, it started out with the chimp and then all the way up to
She was bound for
Homo
a Christian
sapiens.
school, though.
And then I had another guy that wanted to bring in his World War II helmet and thought that was just the most, which is interesting, but I don't know, they didn't get the whole 8th grade reading thing. but I was the peacemaker, and I saw things coming to a head in the office, so I just said, it's okay, just you can come to my room, whatever, it's all right, I'm going there. So she came in there and spent a week, and we talked every period it was off. We talked. She ate her lunch in there. We talked. I didn't have any ulterior motives, although she was a perky young thing. And
So what's the age difference?
she's 20.
13 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And the interesting thing was, I met his ex-wife the same day I met him.
She also she taught in the building.
ooh.
Yes, and she
Scandalous.
was older than him. She's 21 years older than me. So that was,
7 years. I had to do math. I was like,
but yeah. So
So
that was fun.
So she basically observed me for that quarter, and then we've been together for 22 years.
Yes.
So you're just like,
Well, we
You
had
did-
an 8th grader hook us up.
what?
Yeah,
Really?
remember
That's
the kid that kept saying, well, I said I'm supposed to go to like a basketball game and see the kids play and whatever. So he agreed to go with me. And we were sitting at the 7th grade game, and there's an 8th grade kid behind us saying, well, Mr. Lee, you should take her out to dinner. If I was Mr. Lee, I would be taking Miss Elon out to dinner.
And we had the custodian, and we had another.
A secretary.
They
we
would
had
stand
multiple
behind
people
her,
working.
looking at me with their thumbs up. Oh my god!
Yeah, right off the bat. It was
Now
very bizarre.
I feel like it's a beautiful story, but I feel like that's wrong of them to do that. Like, I feel like it's not okay.
It just
So just like, all right.
yeah, and we did.
And so,
That
what
was-
was your first date then?
Just
Well,
a basketball
the
game.
bas-
So you
left.
finally relented. Everybody else said you should be together. You're like, oh, I guess.
She,
Like, do you
she,
want to go out?
hunted,
Like,
she hunted me down like a dog.
Well, we went to the we left after the 7th grade basketball game. We took the 8th graders' advice and we went to dinner, and that was that. That was the first date.
That's beautiful. It was a beautiful first date.
Oh yes.
Yeah, my aunt waited on us. We went to a restaurant where she was the bartender, and yeah, she was.
She gave us free beer.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's a great way to start. And you knew how to take care of yourself in case it didn't go your way.
That's true.
Yeah. Had that
Although
high tolerance.
He's
yeah.
not terribly threatening. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't. I don't think he agrees.
Well, I don't want to be threatening.
Yeah.
It never works for me.
No. So, yeah, that's how.
Okay, so the weekends have by the end of now, the weekends that you're shadowing, and so then you're just like, call me and
Oh, in
leave,
fact,
or
I
had
even
you? Were you official by the end of the week?
Oh no! In fact, I ran with him on the track. Remember, you invited me to go run, and I thought, okay, maybe this will turn into something. I don't know. And no, we ran on the track, and then he gave me a Snapple, and I went to work. And I said, "Come see me, and I'll give you free food." And he didn't show
At the
up.
Red Lobster.
He didn't show up.
He didn't show
I
up.
wasn't.
He stood me up.
I was tired.
I even said,
That's really sad. I would have cried.
No, I was
Cry.
tired of pursuing women at this. I'd never been successful, and I was like, eh.
She gave you a clear in, though.
I know, but I was tuned out.
I even said, "Bring your mom."
Yeah.
Oh, she
Really?
Yeah.
You were already prepared.
And you're just like, I'm not gonna go to that.
I have no excuses.
Now we're like, okay, she's 13 years younger than me.
No, that never crossed
Okay.
my because I'm very immature. I'm
Okay.
pretty
Yeah,
close to her.
he acted like an 8th grader, so
Oh, okay.
he'd spent a lot of time
Fit
with
right
those
in
boys.
with the boys.
19 years.
Boys.
Yeah. So it was not a stretch for the age. But we had made plans to go to the basketball game that following week.
Okay.
So that's when we got back together. But I was kind of not happy that he didn't show
The
up.
first of many disappointments.
I did actually go home that night from working on a Friday night, and I finished reading a book that he gave me, which was unusual for me.
That's
Being
touching.
dyslexic,
That's
I was
beautiful.
And what was the book? Do you know?
Flowers for Algernon.
Flowers in the Attic, eh?
Flowers
I'm
for
just kidding.
Algernon.
I'm just kidding.
Have you read Flowers for Algernon?
No, is it beautiful?
No.
It's lovely.
Is it a beautiful love story? Is there
Actually,
is there a
it
read?
is.
Was there a motive when you gave
No,
it to her? Like,
it
this
was
is a
just
beautiful
cool.
love story. This is us.
It was
This is
short.
us,
It was
baby.
easy for me to whip through in a week. And I had to do something during sustained silent reading.
My only experience with the name Algernon was a character in Bully, the video game. God, so he was this big dweeb, this big redheaded dweeb that you kept giving him wedgies because you got to play as a bully. So you could also throw rocks at him. I remember that.
It was the name of a rat in this book. Algernon
Really?
was a rat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like.
Maybe there was a connection.
Does the rat fall in love?
No.
I don't know what's the plot of the story.
I have read a book like that though.
They did
What's it
a procedure on the rat and made it became able to solve the maze problem faster and faster. and
They made it
intelligent.
really intelligent.
So
Okay.
then they took a mentally impaired individual named
Okay.
Charlie, did the same thing to him,
Okay.
and he basically became smarter than his teacher, who she fell in love with him, and
Okay.
and only they watched as the rat then began to regress, and so he knew what was
Oh,
going to
that's
happen.
tragic.
Yes.
I'm really sad at the idea.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
It-
And I
it
know
was.
it's sad.
It was good though. So he got me into reading.
That's beautiful. And as a reading teacher, that's his whole job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the good one. He's a good one.
And I remember being impressed when I was in his room that he could make reading fun and interesting. I thought, if I had reading teachers like this, I would be a better reader. Someone actually gives you time to read in class. They played Scrabble in class. They got to sit on couches and read all period, like certain days of the week, depending on what book you were in.
Stations,
They
yeah.
were stations. They had puzzles. But it was a fun class, and I thought, wow, this guy can make reading fun. He's
What else
interesting.
can I
He
make
can
fun?
make life- yeah, exactly. I was gonna say he can make life fun.
Yep,
And so, okay, so you go to the basketball game,
yep.
and then what happens?
We go on our
Well,
first-
I want to know everything that happens.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, I did stay at his place that night. But it was an
Okay.
innocent evening.
Platonic.
Yes, but it was.
So when was it obvious that one of you or both of you liked each other?
I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
At the basketball game?
Neither one of us dated anybody after that. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
In fact, I had a date the first week when I was, when I met
Observing.
him
Mm-hmm.
and I was observing, and that was a Thursday night. I already had a date set up with this guy, and it was miserable, and I couldn't stand the guy, and I wanted him to like leave me alone. And then he was became a stalker for a little bit after that, just trying to get him to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into school the next day and I was telling him about it, and he said, "You really need to take a break from guys. You know, this is a
It's
sign."
reverse psychology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to take a break from guys and start dating
Men.
Except for me.
men. Yeah.
But I think part of the reason I was so annoyed by, okay, that guy was younger, so he's already immature and annoying. he was really smart, and he was going to be a chemistry professor, but he was he was a jerk. Told me that gymnastics was not a sport, football's a sport. And, yeah, and that running, why would you do that? So then there I was running with him the next day.
That's really beautiful.
And we really had a lot in common. We did. Because you were running 5Ks and...
I was in charge of the 5K for the school, even though I barely knew what I was doing. And then it turns out her parents were big 5K.
My parents were big, put on 5Ks, and that's how they met, right? You met my parents when they came to help you with the 5K. And I had been living with him already, which my parents didn't really know about. They'd seen, this was the early days of caller ID, which I didn't know about. So I had called them the night before from his house, and Mom said, "Why do you keep calling from this phone number?" I was like, how do you know what phone number I'm calling from? But I was apparently sick at the time, which I didn't realize, but a few hours later, I was sick all night and didn't get to go to the race, but it talked my parents into coming up to help. So they got to meet him when I was at his house sick. And they helped him with the race.
And it was undercover because they didn't know who you were then at that point, or did they?
I think they had suspicions.
They knew that I was involved. They didn't know I was living there.
Are you 776450234?
Oh, I'm glad they came because I needed help.
And so when in the story is college graduation or proposal first?
Oh, so that was my fourth year. I lost a year going from Ohio State to Wright State.
Really?
So there was going to be, it took me 5 years.
The credits didn't transfer?
It was weird stuff like history. They wanted, Wright State wanted world history, but Ohio State, I'd taken American history. So I had to take stuff over or take different classes.
Was it semesters to quarters too?
No, it was quarters.
Quarters to quarters.
But Wright State would have a 4.5-hour class, and Ohio State would have 3 classes. And instead of the 2 4.5 hours, so the transfers were weird. Like, I remember arguing with them that I don't need to take another biology class. That was an interesting story. I had taken the class it's a year of biology, right? And at Ohio State, it was 2 classes that were longer for 2 quarters. And then Wright State spread it over 3 classes. It was the same textbook. And the textbook was written by the Ohio State professor who was an alcoholic because he was depressed about what we're doing to the earth. And he would walk around with
awful.
He's really done now.
Passionate about
He was passionate and he was messed up, but he would stagger around the stage and tell us how we're destroying the planet with his bottle of Jim Beam in his hand.
In class?
This is at Ohio State. But he had written, the hall was named after him.
So he can't.
And the books were named after him. He wrote the books. So then,
so was he brilliant?
He was brilliant.
Okay.
He was just a very depressed man about the
true.
earth. It was, and he. So I had been. Really, I didn't learn anything in these classes. But when I got to Wright State and they said you need to take another biology, I said I was taught by the man who wrote the book.
Right.
And I convinced him that I didn't need to take any more. Because
even though you didn't learn anything in the class?
Yeah. I wasn't going to be a biology teacher.
Right. So what difference
does it make?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But, so that was, All right, so when I did my observation with him in class, I was in my 4th year, which should have been my last year, but it was my second to the last. Right? And that's right, because then my dad, right about the time of the race that they helped you with, he said, let's save some money and you come and move back in with us. I had been living by myself. Well, actually living with him and living by myself and lived with roommates, but did not want to move back in with my parents at 21 years old, needless to say.
Right.
Because my mom has rules and expects me to follow them. And so I did, though. I did what he said, and that was a torture of 6 months. Until Tom said, let's, what you asked my dad, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The old-fashioned way.
That's beautiful.
Do you want to tell that?
Yeah.
No. I asked him and he said, well, it's up to her.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
but then that allowed us to cohabitate on a more socially acceptable
Yeah. 'Cause
level.
Is it not
So-
socially acceptable to live with somebody else when you're not married?
You're not
Well,
supposed to.
What?
Yeah, you're not supposed
My
to.
parents were kind of traditional.
If
Of
you're
course,
old-fashioned.
I didn't even know that was
Yeah.
a tradition sort of thing.
well, my parents got married. My mom was 17 and pregnant, so
So she couldn't.
Frankly-
she didn't really have a lot of room to talk.
exactly. And yeah, but I went ahead and moved in with him and finished out my last year at Wright State, living a lot closer, which was good because I was always late to class, living in Middletown, driving for 45 minutes. That was not a fun time. Getting pulled over for speeding, got a couple speeding tickets during that time. So, yeah, I moved in with him, and then he didn't officially propose until Halloween. Do you want to explain how you did that?
The school nurse gave me an old CPR. They had a whole head. I don't know what they have now, but they had these heads.
Yeah.
And she was retiring this one and said, "Would you like it?" I don't know why. She must have known I was weird.
Do you
So,
want that?
so I took it, and it just struck me. So I put it on the kitchen table and put candles all around it, and then I put papers, and I said, "Will you marry me?" And then there was a yes, and there was a no. And if she picked up the no paper, it said something like, "I don't blame you. I'm a loser." And if it said yes, then it says, "Go look in the microwave," and that's where I put the ring. So she came in from
I came from work. I was
and
waiting
it was
table at
dark.
Applebee's at this point.
And there's a
Yeah.
head on the table with candles around it.
So I kind of screamed and I walked out. And then I thought, okay, we're big into Halloween.
Yeah.
This is just something for fun. It's not really a person's head on the table. So I walked back in.
I wanted it to be momentous.
It was momentous.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's really beautiful.
it's a really odd way to propose, but it fits us.
Ray Lynch.
So
Now, did you pick up the no just to see what it said?
I
'Cause
did.
That's really sad.
I wanted to read both. Yes.
Always be prepared.
But I did pick out the ring, so
That's good.
I had picked out the ring, so I knew it was
Oh.
there somewhere, and he knew I was going to say yes, didn't you?
Sort of.
It's sort of.
You can pick out a ring, I mean.
So that was my
It's
last
so
year
random.
of college.
A CPR head. That was so random.
I
Like,
wish we still had the CPR.
did you at least take a picture of the setup when it was all over?
No,
It's up here.
and then we had
It's so beautiful.
had-
That was really touching.
we had a
That was
massive
so beautiful.
Halloween party where we put the CPR head in an aquarium with red water
Oh.
bubbling,
Oh,
and unfortunately it molded,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh.
So then he threw it out.
so you had to throw them away.
Yeah.
This is the first real symbol of your love. You had to throw
Really?
it away.
Cast it away.
Yeah.
Or I guess probably not your love, but your marriage at least.
Yeah. And at the end of that school year, so I went through student teaching and all that stuff.
Which I feel like
And-
is the worst.
Oh, it was terrible.
I've never. I don't think I ever had a good student teacher.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know what they're doing, I guess, because they're
Well-
students. But
And I was split between two teachers, one that was really super anal and then another one that was really loose. So I had to change my style completely halfway
Oh.
through the day to please two different teachers because you have to impress the cooperating teacher that you're with.
when I was in high school, which you wouldn't know this because we didn't meet until college, but we had a substitute or a student teacher in Connie Bly, rest her soul's class. And now, by this point, I had already fulfilled my credit obligation to a foreign language. I could have graduated and been fine after I had Senora Gibson the first year and Connie Bly for Spanish too. And that should have been it. But I was like, I love this teacher. I'm going to take another year of Spanish because I was a great year, great person. She wasn't even there. Not because she was sick, but because she was a student teacher, and so she would just leave the room. Like,
Yeah.
she would just be like, bye. That's wheeling out. That was her wheeling out. And she would just go out, and then she'd come back, and I'd be like, I took this class specifically to like, so of course I failed. I didn't fail, but I got a D. So might as well have. And then I was like, sorry, Connie, never taking the class again. But I don't know, it's a good thing I didn't because she wasn't there a lot after that anyway while I was in school. But yeah, I have her chicken necklace hanging in my car.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know why they gave it to me, but it's nice.
Because they couldn't find what
that's
you were
right.
looking for.
Yeah.
I forget. A badge.
It was a paper button that said Furby for Pope.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody else has said Zach for Pope, but Fergie was my Spanish name, and she kept it up as long as I was in high school and after, and when she was still in the modular, she kept it up, and so I assumed it made the journey to the new building, but probably did.
It may have, yeah. Things got kind of messy there at the end.
Well, and I think she had a photo album of like pictures of her students, and so I saw that where it was on the wall, I knew like the pictures that were surrounding it on the wall, and they were in this photo album, so I think it probably got put into a photo album.
Yeah, that may have been.
That's all right. But yeah.
Do you want to go turn the water?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. And so you graduate, you do student teaching.
We do, yeah, I do student teaching, I graduate, we got married the same summer, and...
Was it a beautiful wedding?
I was official. I wasn't big into the wedding thing.
Was it a justice of the peace?
I would have done that
Okay.
and gone on vacation. I really just wanted to go on vacation. But my mom said, oh no, we got to have a wedding and a party, because she wanted to invite her friends.
Okay.
That's really what it was.
Now, were you the only daughter?
Family.
Did you have a sister? I can't remember.
Oh, I had a sister. She's been married 4 times.
Oh.
4 at least, maybe 5. I forget. I'm kind of lost track. But she's
wow.
she graduated a semester early so she could get married. And she's 12 years older than me.
Okay.
So this was when I was a kid. She graduated early. I got to be in that wedding. And then there was a second wedding when she got divorced after 6 months for the first time.
Oh, okay.
And then she got married again a couple years later. I really liked that guy. But, that didn't work out. She's I don't want to use the word slut, but that's the best word.
Well, I mean...
Really? Because she would cheat on...
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Well, okay,
my mom's the same way. It's okay.
Yeah,
the
she's
first...
Harkins.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I love her. She's my mom, but...
Cheats on every man she gets with.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone of...
Right.
Yeah.
Well, look, when I play The Sims, they cheat.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's wrong. And I think that's why it's a good. You're sitting there, you're like, yeah, your husband's in the next room, but you're kissing your best friend. Like it's wrong. But when it's on The Sims, it's okay. So like, I get it. Like some people just can't control it when they're in reality because it's hot.
In fact, so she got divorced from the second guy, got married to the new guy, was with him for 6 years, had a kid with him. Mm-hmm. At least she didn't have a kid with the first 2. I was happy about that. But left him in charge of the daughter, and she was fooling around at work with some guy, like taking stuff like my softball glove because her new boyfriend played softball and got interested in hoops, basketball, because he liked basketball, and like you could tell things were going on because she was asking about stuff that she never cared about before.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Wait, so she had a husband, but this wasn't a guy she was
This was
just,
a boyfriend at work. Yeah, and he was married.
Oh, of course.
And then,
of course.
Yeah. And
Birds of a feather flock together, am I right?
Yeah, my brother-in-law figured out that what was going on because she wouldn't come home, and she would say that she was at work, but he said he would leave the phone, he would call her at work and just let it ring and just put the phone down, and it would ring for 2 hours and she would never pick it up.
Oh my gosh.
So obviously she wasn't there. But yeah, she was fooling around there, and in fact, were we married at that point when she left several frantic messages on our machine at home and said, he's beating me up, her husband.
What?
And all this, and Jane and I are in danger, her daughter.
So we jump in the car.
We jump in the
it's
car
like midnight.
after we had been drinking.
We'd been at a bonfire, drinking beer.
And I said, I wasn't smoking pot, but you might.
It was sketchy.
We were.
Now, was that?
We should not have been driving.
Yeah.
We went to her rescue. Get there. It turns out she was freaking out for no good reason. He had left the house.
Oh.
They'd gotten into a fight, and we were confused, needless to say. But we brought her back to our house, and he tried to call us the next day to tell his side of the story, and we didn't want to listen. But in retrospect, it was her, with her drama.
Yeah.
And
because I've learned, this is interesting because not in the same way, but when my mother would get caught or found out, somehow to everybody else she turned it around that he was the bad guy.
Yeah.
So that way the family didn't think she was the bad person.
yeah.
And so I imagine that's probably what was happening. Because my mom would be like, well, he never paid the cable bill. This is something
I'm
something
sure
stupid
there's
like
a
that.
syndrome for that.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's what-
She has it
Yeah.
in spades. Yeah. So, needless to say, no, I was not the only daughter.
So it
and-
wasn't like some mother's fantasy for a beautiful wedding. She just wanted to invite her
Is she
friends.
currently married?
No, not exactly. No.
Okay.
In fact, her last husband,
She's cohabitating.
yeah,
Okay.
her last husband that she stayed with longer than, oh my goodness, yeah, stayed with longer than they were really together because he had good health insurance, and she's got all kinds of problems because she was an alcoholic and among other things that she doesn't take care of herself. But they got divorced finally, and then he found out he had cancer the same day that I did, literally.
Wow.
And he died on Christmas Eve. Oh, no. So October 29th. Now, he was not a healthy person.
Okay.
And I guess it was like all over him. But he had a stroke and a heart attack like within the next month and a half and died on Christmas Eve. So that was pretty quick and over with. But she has a boyfriend now. I think he's a nice guy, but she's a hoarder, and apparently, like the hoarders that you see on TV, she's like that.
Okay.
Like stuff stacked
Like
to the
severe.
ceiling. Yeah, we had to clean out one of her rental houses that just so my parents wouldn't have to keep paying the rent on that.
Didn't we get a dumpster or something?
I think eventually Dad did, but we just were doing bags of stuff out at the curb.
Now, was she there being like, not that one? 'Cause
No,
that's what
she
we've
was-
seen on the show.
She was in a hospital at that point, or was it a nursing home or someplace
Yeah.
they stuck her because she had reached that alcoholism point where they're like, you've got hours to live if we don't do something,
Really?
God.
and days at the most. And she's sort of okay now, although she drinks non-alcoholic beer, which isn't.
She's addicted to non-alcoholic
Yeah,
beer.
that's what my mom says, because she'll drink like 12 a day.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's got 0.5% alcohol, so it's
I didn't know
not.
it had any alcohol.
Yeah,
So it's not non-alcoholic.
it's
It's
got
a
little bit.
it's a
It's not
misnomer.
really enough
It
to
is.
make you feel anything.
But still,
No.
I mean,
No.
if you're an alcoholic and you're about to die, you shouldn't be drinking non-alcoholic.
It's probably just
Exactly.
enough to get show.
At least she's pretty mental, I think. She's just crazy. But yeah, so my wedding was not a big deal to me just because I'm not into the
Right.
fanfare. In fact,
It was fun. It was.
It was fun.
Like
It was
old
a loose-
country wedding.
easygoing. He was mad at me because I giggled with my best friend up there at the altar the whole time.
Oh.
But that's because we did shots on the way there.
Oh. Oh, there you go.
Like fruity.
It was mudslides.
Yeah, mudslide, like, yeah. But, so we were a little silly. And then
And your dress was too long.
my dress
and
was
you
long,
were
and I
tripping
tripped all the
coming
way down the
up the
aisle.
aisle. Your
My
dad had to hold you up.
Yeah, so it was fun. But then we went to Florida, and that was really
That was
what I wanted.
awesome.
I wanted to go on vacation.
Right.
Well, there you go.
Now, were you interested in the fanfare? Because she was going to go to Justice of the Peace.
No, I didn't need any. Of
Okay.
That was all wrong.
Okay.
It was okay.
Yeah, well, and we didn't do fancy stuff. I was like, I made my own flower arrangements, and yeah, we kept it simple.
And the reception was at the Moose.
It was.
or,
It wasn't the moose, but it was something like
Something
The
some
Eagles,
Legion,
something like
Eagles
that.
Before
had
Mom
a-
had hers.
some
Beautiful.
big thing,
It's not. It's not. But,
big hall
Yeah.
with music, dancing music. So we had a good time.
Yeah.
And so now you're married. You're graduated. Then what happens?
And then
You got a job. I
I
assume.
did, and then his cousin said it was at Springfield City,
Okay.
and his cousin said, "Don't do that." He said they'll abuse you, and
He was
sure-
teaching OWA or E.
Yeah,
or-
he was a teacher there, and he said you don't want to work here, and it's a good thing because I went in and I literally got interviewed, and then they tried to get me to sign papers right then and there,
Jeez.
Yeah.
which is a bad sign. And They couldn't get anybody from the board office to answer the phone, so I didn't get to sign the papers, and I was supposed to go back the next week, but his cousin got a hold of me, and then I turned the job down. And it's a good thing because the woman who did get hired, they did drive her out. She lost her certificate because she couldn't make it through the year, and if you can't complete the year, I mean, it was a crazy schedule. It was like 4 preps, and one of them you were giving up part of your lunch, and the first and last period, apparently, if you're at Springfield, you get to, if you're rewarded for being a good kid, you get to come late or leave early. So the ones that are there first and last are the really bad kids. So those were horrible classes, and it was apparently a really rough schedule. And the woman quit and lost her teaching license because she couldn't survive the year. It was that bad, and they couldn't keep anybody in that position for the whole year.
Wow. Now, is that just a normal practice? Like, if you quit in the middle of the year,
they have to
for irreconcilable differences. Then you have
they revoke your certificate if the school doesn't agree to let you out.
Wow.
And she lost it.
But then she got a job at Greenland.
I did the following year, yes. So I long-term subbed actually at his school, which was
a whole nother. Got to coach track with you, right? So that was sort of fun.
What is it like to long-term sub? Do you just is that like when Senor Bly was in the hospital and someone was there the whole time?
Yeah, and
or you're just saying that you were their substitute
I was long-term subbing in this woman's classes who didn't leave me plans per se. She was one that she said, I like to talk to the kids a lot, but literally I don't think she got any teaching done because she left me these books that just had cartoons in them.
Of moles.
Yeah, like mole jokes.
Like Avogadro's mole?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that terrible?
I thought it was just like...
It was like a book full of mole jokes and no actual lesson plans.
What could they have been?
Just stupid.
What the mole say to the other mole? Stoic? I don't know.
Probably.
Stoic. What did Avogadro cook up on the grill? Stoic.
Yeah.
We know we need to take that union and watch the teachers work harder.
That wasn't a great student teaching experience.
So basically, if you were there, if there were no lessons planned, you kind of just did your own.
Yeah, and I didn't really have books. That was the other thing. She had let the books kind of go because she didn't use them. So I had like 20 books, but it wasn't enough for the whole class, and it was a learning experience. How to adjust, how to be flexible. And then, yes, I got a job at Greenland, but it was teaching physical science.
Okay.
That's when my physical science days started.
Yeah, you hate physical science.
I didn't hate it, but after teaching it for a really long time, and that wasn't what I went to school for, I got sick of it because
Didn't they have 34 kids in a class?
Oh, 36. Yeah, I had this general class. I had 6 periods of physical science. One of them was a general class. The rest was CP, allegedly. But yeah, I remember this general class, the kids just kept coming in, and I didn't have any desks left or seats of any kind. And there weren't lab stations or anything. It's just basically an open room with countertops and desks in the middle. And I was saying, something's wrong because I don't have any more places to put people, and I'm like, you guys aren't on my list, and they're like, well, they told me to come here, and they literally added like 10 kids the first day of school to this class. So I had kids sitting on the floor, and I contact guidance later, and they're like, well, yeah, we'll get you some more desks, but that's just how they did things. They didn't check to see if you had enough desks or that you were prepared for this or anything.
It was a joke.
Oh, it was bad. Yeah, so I worked there for 2 years and then got a new job, and I took another physical science job just to get out of there, even though the chemistry teacher was retiring from Greenon, but he had told me, get another job if you can, don't work here, they won't give you any money for chemicals, so you can't do labs. So he said, get out.
So what are you supposed to do in a chemistry class if you can't do labs? What's the point?
Exactly.
Stoichiometry all year?
Apparently.
I want to tell you, I would have hated that. That was for some reason, that's what I remember the most, and I think it's because I hated it so much.
But you were good at it.
I guess. Yeah, I was.
You were.
I was, but I hated it. I was sitting there, I was like, what? The molar mass? Like, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, as soon as I said it, I was like, I'm wrong. But
Yeah,
then,
that
it
was
wasn't
it.
your fault that I hated it. It was avocado roast.
Just not your thing.
Yeah.
Yes. You were busy exploring other avenues of on the stage.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say
Which was
sexuality.
fun.
I was like, okay.
No, I didn't know if you'd figured that one out yet.
Well,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Your junior year you had?
Well,
Oh,
I love more.
4th grade.
what?
Really? Oh
You
yeah.
were talking about me.
Yeah. Well, we pick up on things and we always wonder, does the kid know? Because there are kids that don't figure it out until they graduate.
Yeah.
They have
Or
to put
afterwards.
away. Oh well.
We'll beep it.
Yep. Oh, okay, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah, oh, yeah.
professionals.
We got
Okay.
that, yeah.
Good.
I was like, what happened? But then I remember.
Yes.
Hello, my good name.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so, well, that's good.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
Well, it was.
Because you had that thing that you were, like, infatuated with, what's her face, that blonde girl? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
How did you know that?
Because you
Who
talked
was it?
about it all the time. What was her name?
Haley Myers.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my god.
you knew?
You talked, you...
Did I?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, you talk to everybody about it.
I would just come in and be like, "Oh my god, I love Haley Myers."
And then
Like,
she had some love interest,
Yeah,
and you were all
Jordan Turner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was
So
like,
you-
why do you care? Because that's not your thing.
Maybe I just liked them both. I didn't, but
Well, at that point, Zach knew he was gay.
Yeah.
But he just kept falling in love with girls, I guess.
yeah.
Really?
I always like because anytime that would happen, my friends would be like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
just, but it's a very specific.
I think it's because you were on stage.
I
and
think that's what it is.
it
Because
was-
I've also fell in love with Jessica Flippo, and she was the love interest in my first musical. So
Yeah.
I think that
That's
might
what
be
it
it.
was.
But it's also, but there are other examples. I think it's just a very certain type of,
Brittany
Well,
Porter.
of
and Jessica
woman, I
was
guess.
amazing.
yeah,
So.
yeah.
And she
But
was older.
It's a weird. It's more.
Was she older than you?
Oh yeah.
So that
She
was,
she was a senior, and I was a
That's
freshman.
right.
And I was like, it can happen. I was like, it can happen. Like, yeah. And it was really
well,
awkward.
did you get to kiss her on stage?
Oh yeah, yeah, I did. But it was awkward. It was awkward because I was kind of like developing these feelings for her, and then we started rehearsing like the kissing scene, and she'd already known at that point. And so then it's just awkward because there's like a lot of awkward tension where I'm like, yeah, and she's like, oh no, And so we're kissing, and every time I'm like, blushing, but. Oh yeah, it was really awkward. And I remember I made Hannah ask her if she liked me, because that's what you did in middle school. And she's like, she's a senior in high school. Like you don't have your friend
And at
ask
that point,
for you.
you really hadn't hit puberty.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was really bad. But that's all beside the point. So I'm sitting here, I'm coming into class, and you're like, this kid's flaming. But now I was out in high school. But
Oh, really?
Senior year, I was.
See, we didn't know that.
Well, because I didn't. For some reason, I was like, I don't need to tell the teachers because I thought it was weird. I didn't tell Mrs. Perks.
Well,
You know how Mrs. Perks found out?
How?
One bugging BBBB that night. She
Really?
found out. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'm sure she knew, but I had never told her. Still haven't told. Still haven't told her to this day.
She knew. I think she probably knew, and she had to. But she was
had to.
she
I
was
know.
more religious, so maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't tell her. Yeah.
Yeah, but with me, you didn't have to worry.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I don't know why. But yeah, I remember I was in Chicago, and I was like, I'm gonna write a letter to Mrs. Lee, Mrs. Cromwell, Mrs. Bartley, Mrs. Dean, of all people. And I was like, I'm just gonna tell them I'm gay, and then I'm in love.
Really?
Yeah, that's
you did
how it
that.
happened. Yeah,
That's pretty
That's
random.
when we knew officially.
yeah. And so you read this letter, and you're like, makes sense.
Oh yeah, total.
Yeah. And so, but then in your mind, you're like, see, we knew he would just figure it out after he graduated.
Well, we'd seen it happen before.
Yeah.
Our kids had to get away from the hometown
Yeah.
and be themselves.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Because it was. It was probably the first. Let's see. I think it was the first people that I told was freshman year. So, yeah, I knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
See?
But I
We
didn't.
could've
I
handled it.
posted a Facebook status the summer in between junior and senior year, and that was when it happened. Yeah, that was when it was real. And of course, and it was funny on the subject. it's funny because Haley Myers messaged me. She was like, "So do I look like a boy or something? Like, am I a man to you?"
Oh, geez.
Like, no.
You were really in love with Haley Myers.
Yeah.
Was that the one who like devastated you? Who am I thinking of? You had one you were really.
He was pretty devastated.
I'm thinking of Jason Demeter.
Yeah, I was in love with Jason Demeter too.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
devastated by that.
That's all right.
Did you get any negative blowback from Facebook?
No, surprise, because I think everybody knew.
I think everybody
knew, but also, I mean,
We also you had a lot. Well, you had some not on Facebook, but yeah, people were like,
there was only like one. I mean, there were people that I
like don't get in front of him. Or
yeah,
something.
well, Forrest Parrott, but he's a scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we were
He went to
in
school with his dad.
we were in Kevin's class, and he
Freaker.
yeah, and if my table was here or whatever, they were all standing over there, and Ben Franzen had his back to me, and Forrest went up and was like, "Watch your back. There's a faggot back there." You know what I mean? I'm just, yeah. Well, as you know, we're voracious, sexual people, and so we just see a man, and we
you just
immediately
gotta jump on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
honestly, it's not
too far from that. But it's not.
It's someone who's accepting of your. Yeah.
But yeah, so she.
Wow.
But no, yeah, there was never. I was really surprised. I mean, there were people before I came out that thought or had that I was friends with that just never talked to me again because of it. But yeah,
This is my ice, by the way.
I figured.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, well, then I remember after that, everybody thought that Zach and I were like dating.
Oh yeah, that was the number one question.
Jeez.
Because you can't
be friends with a guy.
Exactly.
Oh my.
We'll just like
Well,
guys
and then
can't be
from
friends
there,
with girls.
everybody just assumed I was gay. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people still think I'm gay.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I never got that.
Yeah. When I went halfway, my mom was like, "So you're dating RJ?" And I was like, "No." And my dad was like, "Is it RJ?" I was like, "No." My grandma, "Is it RJ?" Everybody at school, I was like, "It's not. It's just friends." But yeah.
Oh wow.
So when did you get the job at Clark State Community College?
That was 98, 99, something like that. And yeah, that was physical science. Which
So was that right?
my
Was that
first
right after
choice.
Greenon?
That was right after Greenon. Yeah,
Okay.
I went straight from Greenon to there. And I wanted the chemistry job, but it involved physics. So I wasn't certified yet for physics.
Okay.
And so I ended up teaching freshmen.
So
Which was okay, still, for like 5 more years. And then I got really sick of it. I was like,
she
this is
hates
so-
freshmen
Well,
in the
it's
classes.
not just the freshmen. Some of the freshmen are fine, and some of them act like they're 4 years old. You know?
Of course.
But it was really more the material. It was kind of just too easy. It wasn't challenging for me.
Yeah.
All the concepts were so... I just got tired of using a dumbed down level of the science that I'd gone to college
'Cause
and
it's
taken
like-
all these classes. And
Physical science is like soil.
it's really
And
simple.
the earth, isn't it?
And
It's
the
like
parts of the
It's like
atom.
elementary
right.
physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, elementary physics and
The three
elementary
states
chem,
of them.
and I just got tired of. And then, okay, the frustrating part, it's on such an easy level, and then there are kids that just don't get it, and I'm tired of trying to dumb it down
Even
and water
more,
it down and find new ways to explain something that's so simple. And I would explain stuff to my own kids, and they were young, like 7 years old, and they would get it. I'm like, okay, I got a high school freshman that doesn't get it, and my 7-year-old gets it the first time. What's wrong with this picture? And that just added to my frustration. So I needed to move up
Yeah.
into
I've
higher
heard this from
levels.
somebody. Where did I hear this from? I feel like it was one of my professors, but I don't remember.
And that's why eventually I just wanted to get to... I enjoy the level of conversation you can have with kids that are closer to adulthood or even in adulthood. So the maturity level is important too.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, it was my. I had a history professor my last semester, and she hated us because like the
Really?
class. Yeah, I mean, it was a class full of college freshmen. And she's like, I went home and I asked my 6-year-old son what he thought would be on this test, and he told me, and all of you failed it. She was so pissed.
Yeah,
Every day she was mad at us.
I can relate to that. It's frustrating because you got kids in there that don't care, and you're supposed to find a way to reach them, and I don't know. And on that level, I just felt like it was too easy material for them to miss it.
So you took more classes and you got
I did.
certified in physics.
I did, and left you at home to take care of the kids for the better part of like 10 months.
Where did you have to go to do that?
Wright State.
Oh, okay.
It was a state-funded thing. They paid for it for me to take the classes, so I couldn't like not do it.
Right.
But it was classes at night.
After a full school day.
Yeah,
Oh.
2 or 3 days a week. We had a toddler and a preschooler, and he had to just do everything because I had to study on the weekends. It was calc-based physics, so it was some pretty good material to work with. And yeah, I had to be gone 2 or 3 days a week from like 4 to 9 o'clock. So I would go straight from school, maybe come home and stop here, but then go on to class and be there a long time.
That sucks.
And yeah, my son forgot who I was. Remember that?
Oh.
By the end of the year, the 2-year-old, he was like, "Who are you?"
What?
He was daddy's boy. Yeah.
And I made a lot of Stouffer's, grandma's chicken and rice baked dinners.
And
Those are
lasagnas
It's
and
good.
ordered a lot of pizza.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it was a rough year.
No, it's interesting that you wanted to do physics because I hated it, even college
Really?
level physics. I thought it was just boring.
Well,
but you
it
had
doesn't
to.
have to be boring.
You had to, right? In order to move up to chemistry, you had to have
Well,
physics.
no, I had the chemistry
She said she wanted to
certification.
do physics.
Well, I thought you said you couldn't accept the chemistry job because it had physics involved.
Oh yeah, that. But
That's
then
another
later things changed
Oh,
and it
okay,
became a
okay.
chemistry job. But yeah, I went back to get the physics too, so I
Oh,
have
okay.
both. I
Yeah,
can
for me,
do
I
both.
never understood. It's like, even in college, it was just like, okay, let's throw this ball and just calculate stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's really stupid. Even when I got into like electromagnetism, I was just like, I don't see the point in this.
She
Yeah,
said it's all about balls.
it is. Physics is all about
It's so
balls.
stupid.
If you know how to do it correctly, it's.
I knew how to do it. No, I did.
No, I mean like if
As
you
a
know how
teacher,
to teach it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Teaching it. It
Was
can
there a lot
be
of Bill
a lot
Nye
of
in
fun.
physics?
No, he is a
Oh.
physicist though.
But he just didn't do any.
I thought
Well,
was
he
an
doesn't do
engineer.
anything that difficult. He was a physicist originally.
Oh.
I just
Yeah.
want to mention you showed us a lot of Bill Nye in
Yeah.
chemistry, but you're like, he doesn't do anything that difficult. And I'm like, okay, like, so you thought we were.
I didn't show you.
I'm just kidding.
No, I had those. What were those? I had chemistry videos, but they were
I
those
remember
crazy
those.
college kids that made
Oh, yeah.
videos.
I do remember
Yeah,
that.
I used them for a couple years.
I don't remember watching one of Bill Nye.
No, I
What was
didn't.
the name of it?
Physical science. I showed Bill Nye.
The deviants or the...
Yeah, the
some
standard
name-
deviants.
That's it.
I think I'm just confused by all the times I was just in your classroom while other kids were being
No,
taught, and I'm
Pete
just in
Kramer,
there.
maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Did he watch Bill Nye?
some.
Someone did. Mrs. Cromwell showed a lot of Bill Nye, I think.
I don't
Eyes of
remember
Nye.
watching Bill Nye. in
I
high
just
school.
remember I watched a lot of Bill Nye in high school. I don't know who did it, and it might. I don't know, but it might have been when there was a sub, even.
Oh, yeah, it's most likely he would just
Yeah,
do something.
Some busy work, yeah.
possibly.
So you move up to chemistry and physics. We don't teach physics, do you?
Yeah, I do soon. Again, yeah. It depends on how the schedule works out. What classes are open
Interesting.
that I need to do. Yeah.
But now that another
Yeah.
long-term instructor has retired at Clark State,
Yeah.
you will
I will
take some
be-
of those
I
classes.
will be doing the physics again
Yes.
instead of the
David, is that
chemistry,
his name?
which is good.
Is this the same man who announces the teacher and student volleyball
Colonel
games?
Sandys.
Yes. I
His last
guess.
name rhymes with Limerick.
Yes. Very
And
good.
his initials are.
Yes.
Colonel
Right.
Sandys.
Yep. Yep. So
I thought it was more like Santa Claus.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought he looked like the Colonel.
Yeah, a short version.
I just knew I never wanted to be in his class. Wasn't smart enough. I wasn't.
You were.
I'm too scared of him.
Would you have worked hard enough?
No.
Probably not.
Okay. Wow.
Smart enough for sure.
Okay. So
Yeah, I was in his
hard
class.
like
I
that.
didn't work very hard.
Did you think I wasn't a hard worker? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, for chemistry.
I wasn't
Other-
a hard worker for
You were a hard
chemistry.
worker on stage.
I know that's right.
You would memorize incredibly long musicals,
Yeah.
which were fun to watch.
Well, thank you.
But obviously, I could tell where you'd put your effort.
Yeah,
was
my
fine.
my
I
grade
totally
card knew it
understandable.
too.
Totally understandable.
I didn't try in high school.
Hey, I graduated like 90th in my class of like 150 people, so I think that's pretty good.
You weren't striving for anything in particular.
Well, I was striving for Broadway, but that doesn't really happen
Yeah.
from Northwestern. It's gonna possibly. I mean, from Clark State. It's not gonna happen.
You have a lot of
From
bleeping.
Clark State, yeah. And so then, what's next? What's happening now?
Right now, I'm just recovering from my health crisis.
Yes.
That's an ongoing struggle because even though I endured 2 surgeries to have brain tumor removed and then went into chemo and radiation, my radiation doctor overdosed me and
Okay.
gave me a new batch of stuff to beat down, which I may be trying an experimental. I guess it's not experimental anymore,
No,
right?
it's a
The new
breakthrough.
treatment,
Okay. That's the polio treatment.
the
that you're talking
polio
about.
treatment,
Okay.
yes.
And so they overexposed you,
Yeah.
which
It was
then
supposed to
created
be-
new cells.
Yes, in a different place.
Well, we don't have. That's a
Well, I
Hypothesis,
still have
whatever.
an area
Now, is
that can't grow
that's
hair.
malpractice.
That's
right?
malpractice,
All
yeah.
right, you can get him.
You could never.
You can
prove
get it.
You could probably prove it, but would I want to? I just really want to heal and move on.
Well, that's just everybody in Springfield. Everybody in Springfield wants to sue.
Oh yeah.
Anytime,
Everybody.
everybody, like my step grandparents, her mom died after like months in the hospital. She's like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna sue him. Wrongful death. Sure, she had one lung removed, but and died. But I'm gonna get him.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that I still can't grow hair on an area and I haven't had radiation in 3 months, that's proof right there. I mean, I was
Yeah.
supposed to start growing hair back within a couple weeks, but the scalp was damaged severely. Like
Wow.
there was not.
You had a
hair
new
follicles.
doctor and a brand new piece of state-of-the-art equipment, and I think. he
And
was-
my doctor who set up the treatment had left, like they were passing. One was leaving, one was coming. So he wasn't there to keep an eye on things and make sure that everything got followed.
the guy leaving seemed more
Well, that's
holistic
malpractice.
and
Yes.
comprehensive in
Yeah.
the methodology, and the new guy he was bringing a certain military bearing to his approach.
Yes. Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force.
Carpet
Oh,
bomb it.
okay.
Let's
I see.
We have to destroy it to save it.
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what? If maybe too personal. What was it like being diagnosed? What's that like?
Interestingly enough, for me, it was just basically a wake-up call.
Right.
Because I had not been taking care of myself. I mean, I could see that clearly. And it explained a lot of what had been happening to me because I remember thinking when I was at work, I mean, I felt awful, but I didn't know why. I just thought, I've got problems with my leg and my knees, and I'm on a hard surface, and maybe that's why I'm miserable. But I felt foggy, like I couldn't keep things straight in class and had trouble remembering kids' names. And so when I got the diagnosis, I felt like, oh, okay, that makes total sense now. I get it.
Yeah.
And then my first response was, what's next? What do we do about it? You know,
Right.
how do we solve this?
You
It's a-
radically changed your diet.
I did. I immediately started to find out how do you support your immune system with your diet and what do you not do. Like I drank wine probably 3 glasses a day, which for somebody my size is kind of a lot. And so I gave all that up. I was taking medication for arthritis, for
Allergies.
insomnia,
Yeah.
for allergies. I was taking kind of a lot of prescription medicine, which all of it is harmful to your system, and especially when you put it all together. And when I cleaned my diet up, I found I didn't need those medications. I actually started learning meditation, like YouTube stuff, just so I could sleep, and found out I don't need to take pills to sleep. And yeah, so
You're seeing an alternative
I'm seeing a
healing.
doctor for nutrition. Yeah, she's an alternative. She's actually a chiropractor, but she does nutrition stuff. She specializes in that. And it's okay. Kitty kitty.
She did like a run by and then she was like, never mind, I'm going to go back. I couldn't make it. I didn't make it all the way across before they saw me.
But yeah, total change in lifestyle. And so now I'm just working on getting to the end of getting to a cure, because I don't agree with where the cancer center is all about treatment. Here's your next treatment, and we're going to
You
give you
get
this
three
treatment.
choices. You either get it cut
more
out,
treatment.
poisoned with chemo, or zapped with radiation. Which
And if
combination
that doesn't
would you
work,
like?
we'll send you somewhere else to get more of that, and we'll actually put the radiation to inside
Yeah,
your
let's have
head
a
instead of-
balloon with a wafer of radiation inside it and stick it in there. And
So we're opting for different options, but mostly me taking care of myself, I feel like, is going to get me to the end.
Yeah.
It's just a slow process. It'd be nice if I didn't have a new batch to deal with.
Right. Wow.
But in the end, I will conquer.
Overcome.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will win.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good outlook.
Yeah, I will be the 10%. And those are the odds.
that's the first thing you see if you
Yeah.
look up what she's diagnosed with on the internet.
You got
10%
90%.
survivorship.
And I
Wow.
was like, that's not going to be me. I'll be part of the 10%.
Wow.
I've always been the exception to the rule, so that
Yeah.
works for me.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. But I think I just remembered something. Brother, didn't watch it. Bad boy. Someone else, bad boy. This new doctor gave you more cancer. Bad boy.
Bad boy, yeah.
It's a history of bad boys, but one good boy.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yes.
Because
It's a good thing. 'Cause he has to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. How is it? I mean, it's hard to ask somebody like, how's it affecting you? Because like it's it's not, you know what I mean. But how is it affecting? Besides like, oh well, she's my wife, I'd do anything for her. Like how has it affected you?
I feel like I'm stumbling blindly along because you don't know what to do to make a big impact in the right direction. So, like, I hear about this polio thing, and I want, let's do it, let's make things happen, and then you
So
get,
he's like it's beyond my assistant. He does all the calling and like gets a hold of these people and
and
makes things happen.
it's
and
terrible
schedules.
because you'll either get the grumpy nurse or you get the doctor who left for the week, or there's just one roadblock after another, and you have to keep calling, and they must think I'm an idiot or something, but it's a challenge.
He pursues it,
Yeah,
and I, on the other hand, take a nap.
It's a good thing, it's a good thing I'm retired.
I take
Yeah.
my supplements and I take my nap.
I don't know how you
I
would
take
do
care
it
of myself.
if you were by yourself like this, blind,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or if your partner was still working full time,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because now you can't drive.
Yeah.
You can't drive.
Yeah. Because the new batch of stuff gave me a seizure, and now I'm not
Oh,
allowed
okay.
to drive.
Really?
Did they like revoke your
Indefinite.
driver's license, or you just know
just-
you're not supposed to?
If I were to drive and had some issue, then
And they
I-
found out that
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
I
in
mean,
trouble.
You'd be liable. Yeah.
yeah, the neurologist said 90 days, but another doctor said that sometimes the
6
DMV
months.
says 6 months.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know when I'll be able to drive. I'm not worried about it right
I don't
now. I'm
care.
just
Yeah.
resting.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is good that you have somebody too,
Oh,
'cause
yes.
especially someone like rest in peace, Seymour Bly. Tragic. I mean,
Oh.
absolutely tragic.
Yeah, and she had been through so much medically
yeah.
before that. I think she had 7 surgeries in 3 years.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah,
like
she
that.
was miserable.
And all that infection and all the medications they gave, I mean, they basically gave her the cancer with all the stuff they did to her. They had IV medication going into her all the
And
time.
they had the pump that was
Yeah.
sucking it.
Yeah. Yeah, she had it, but and it was what I thought was the most sad was because when I first met her, she was so like full of life
Yeah.
and like
And she
joyous.
loved teaching.
And it slowly just whittled her down to like the last time I saw her, she just wheeled past me. She's like, "Hi," you know what I mean? And that she was just
Yeah.
really beaten down. And I mean, even then it was like another 2 years. So I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
And I watched myself from the outside. I mean, like in retrospect, I looked at what I had done, and I was going downhill, and I was on a scooter at the same time she was at one point, and I remember joking about we should have scooter races, but neither one of us felt like it.
Yeah.
But I realized my health was declining, not to the extent that hers did, but, well, apparently it was to the extent, because I was going to kill myself too if I didn't make major changes.
Yeah. So were your diagnoses around the same time? I don't remember the timeline.
It was last May, right before the end of school. I mean, it was like a week before the end of school. My last conversation with her was in the hallway, and she said, she was actually talking about we were talking about a student we had in common that had cheated on a whole bunch of tests, and she called her again, and she said, she was going to call the parents, but she said, I feel so sick. She said she felt really nauseous, and she said, I'm really scared, because she felt like something wasn't right in her, something different. And that was a Friday, and apparently she went in, like, I don't know if it was that day or the next day or whatever, but she didn't come back on Monday, and we didn't hear anything about why she wasn't back, but they had found the cancer in her liver and I think maybe her lungs too, but it was, in multiple places, and that was the end of the school year, and then she went through treatment over the summer, but she died in, September?
I think.
So it was rapid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, there wasn't much hope for her, I guess, but that was pretty painful, and I felt sick all summer. I had mono, apparently. Yeah, I tested positive for mono last summer. That was one of those.
A side symptom.
That was, it was a symptom of me not being healthy.
Right.
And apparently that particular virus can turn your cells into cancer cells.
Oh.
It can.
Really?
It's like the one virus that can get in there and change. Epstein-Barr can invade your cells and change them. And so I was sick all summer and couldn't go see her. And I remember feeling guilty because I was like, oh, I'd really like to go see her. And I finally wrote her a letter, but I don't know. It was
Did she write back?
a pill to
or
swallow.
call?
No. Yeah, so it was tough to not be able to even say anything to her. But I was like, I can't go see somebody that's in chemo and I have mono.
Right. I found out from fucking Dale Douglas Reno of all people. Can't stand him. And we were in Michigan for the Adele concert on my 21st birthday, and he was like, Senor, and that's September 7th. And he was like, yeah, Senora Bly has cancer and is dying. And like she was like in hospice, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And then it was like it got home, and like maybe like 4 or 5 days later, we were at her funeral.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really tragic. But I mean, I think especially she was pretty unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because of all the other health things. So I feel like you've got a better grip on it.
Yeah, she had gone septic. I mean, during one of the foot things in between, one of the problems was bacteria was all over her body, so they had to treat her with evil antibiotics then. And yeah, I have a much better chance.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Fortunately for her.
So when do you go get some FDR in you?
That's when that's what he's making phone calls.
Oh, okay, so you haven't like scheduled anything yet for that?
No.
He's answered a lot of questions.
She's formally applied, and now Duke the Dr. Henry Friedman wants to talk to the doctor here and take a fresh MRI of the brain and send it down there, and then he'll say, why don't you come down here and let's see what we can do.
Wow.
So,
It's really fascinating, though.
Yeah.
Like, just the idea of it's really fascinating.
Yeah, and in the meantime, hopefully what I'm doing here, just resting and doing the supplements and nutrition and all that stuff, is building my immune system to, work on it too.
What was it like going back to school after all that? I mean, was it only a few months?
I felt really good when I went back to school. I mean, the new stuff hadn't started, and really, I think school was good for me. It kept me busy, and I stayed healthy, and I had a lot of energy when I was at school. Now, toward the end of the school year, I was like, I need this to be done because I've got to get some sleep. I need big naps in the afternoon. So.
But Clark State has been very supportive,
Yes.
and there's a lot of good
That's
people
good.
Yes.
that came out of the woodwork.
We've had a lot of support from the community.
Really? Even the community itself, not just the faculty?
Yeah,
Wow.
really. Yeah, I've had and former students come and and send me emails and people that have been like, we're there for you.
Yeah.
And we got your back. And is there anything we can do? Yeah, everybody. Anything we can do, we'll help you out.
Like that one lady brought up dinner that one night when we were over here.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who that was.
There were so many.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
You're just like, which one?
I was trying to keep a list, and it's just outrageous. I mean, the administrator of Clark State set aside a refrigerator in the staff workroom, and it said for the Lee family.
Wow.
Only
That's really
people
nice.
put stuff in there.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
The male leader that runs all of the campuses of Clark State, or the female leader of what runs one building of the Clark State campuses?
One building.
Okay.
One building. One building. Yeah. The head honcho, not so
Doesn't
much.
care.
Not much of a personality there.
Yeah.
Worse than the last one.
The last one had a personality, good or bad.
Yeah.
But there was
There's something.
stuff going on.
Yeah. We've had a lot of support.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really
It
good.
really is. It's amazing. You don't know the people that even think of you
Right.
until something like this happens. And then the response is overwhelming. And I remember thinking that in the hospital. I was like, wow, all these, letters and
Right.
cards and gift cards and gas cards. And I remember thinking, why do I need gas cards? But
You need them.
you need them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really helpful, and it's been quite an experience.
Well, it's good that. I mean, that's good. I mean, if there's anything good that could come from it, then that's.
It has
that's good
been,
to know.
and really, I've got this book, Beating Cancer with Nutrition,
I saw
and one
that.
of the things is, could this be your wake-up call? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's my wake-up
See,
call.
it's written by someone with the last name Quillen. Yeah. Spelled differently than.
Yes,
But
but yes.
would you like to move on to the speed round?
Okay,
These are 10 questions to wrap it up.
okay.
Alrighty.
Yep,
You can both answer these if you'd like.
okay.
Number one, when it comes to auto insurance, full or state minimum coverage?
Minimum.
Minimum.
Number two, hoop earrings, tasteless or sexy?
Tasteless.
Sexy.
Number three, do you think Bill Cosby raped?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty sad, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Well, I mean, he did it to himself. But every time I walk through like a movie store and they'll have like DVDs of the Cosby Show, I'm like, oh, that's tasteless. Like they gotta take that down. Like
I remember the pudding pop commercials. I love the pudding
wooden
pop.
pop. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Craig Ferguson? Now this stemmed from your love of Stephen Colbert. So we just asked, what do you think of Craig Ferguson?
Another late night personality.
We really haven't. I watched him a little bit actually. When you were in the emergency room, that's been a long time ago.
I
That one
don't know
that
who it is.
He's late.
Yeah, he's not anymore. He's Irish.
Yeah,
Craig
I
Ferguson?
thought he was funny.
Yeah.
But we don't have cable, and we don't have anything. Like,
Yeah.
we have YouTube and stuff. So we really haven't. He's probably never seen him.
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty good.
Talentless.
Really?
No, I don't know. I'm just
I
clearly.
saw him
I mean,
once.
because you guys know who Stephen Colbert is, so you,
Well, yes.
you make time to watch Stephen Colbert, but not Craig Ferguson. So clearly he's
If I had another son, I would name him Steven.
really
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that much. Wow.
Yeah.
Number
Okay.
5. Quick. Do your most offensive Asian impression. I'll start. Oh, I want to make a fried rice. RJ.
That was pretty good. Oh, I want to drive a car by.
I don't think I can do impressions.
Like this. Ching Tang Wing Wong.
Oh. Chong chong?
There you go.
That's all
There
I
you go.
got.
Number 6. Does size matter?
No.
I guess not. I hope not.
It's the motion of the ocean, right? Not the.
There's
not
a
the
lot
size
more
of the
important
boat.
things. Yeah.
Number 7. Was Shirley Temple all she was cracked up to be?
I felt like she was overrated. Very talented,
Yeah.
but it drives me
Did
crazy.
you know she became an ambassador?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I suppose I should give her credit for growing up. But the little kid stuff drives me
Yeah,
crazy.
animal quackers.
Oh.
How to speak.
Yeah.
All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. Must have been poor. How did you feel when you saw the hanging of Saddam Hussein?
I didn't see
Patriotic,
it.
right?
Technically, I didn't see it. Actually, I think it really I think it made things worse.
Kind of barbaric.
Yeah,
Well, but
yeah.
certain countries need somebody in charge that's like,
Well, yeah, that's why they blame Hillary for Gaddafi, because overthrown Libya and blah, blah, blah. Well, as you know, she's the Antichrist. Number 9, is watching pornography cheating?
no.
Better not be.
Number 10, is PC a C word behind closed doors?
Is what?
Is PC... I'll change it to Mac and is she a C-U-N-T behind closed doors?
Depends on the person and the situation.
Really?
To you?
For me, no.
Wow. I thought you hated her.
No?
For some reason. Because every time I ever mention her, she's loud and...
She actually sent me a fruit thing.
and edible arrangements.
Yes.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And
that's really
and
beautiful.
lovely emails, like regularly.
Wow.
I'm thinking of.
But is she
that
like
person.
is she doing some go to church sort of things? She loves church.
I guess I don't know.
Oh, she loves
Something's
church.
changed.
I don't
Really?
know.
You think so?
I mean, the last few times I've seen her, she's all, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because now
For me, she's been supportive.
that's great.
Yeah.
I forgot about like the change in circumstances that would make her seem more. That's good though. I mean, I always thought she was a nice person, but I just thought maybe had some dirt. Now, because the reason I asked about church is because after my show, Mrs. Jensen wrote me a lovely letter, but it was all about how I should find God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was what she gave me.
Does she think that's gonna fix you?
You need an adjustment or something?
Yeah, well, because she's
Yeah, it's just like you wouldn't do that in the first place. It's just
Yeah.
like you wouldn't need somebody to complete your life. If
yeah. Her thing was, which honestly, I think she missed the whole point of the show, because I talked about how it was, how I thought I needed someone to like complete me, and then at the end I was like, I guess I don't.
Yeah.
And because she was like, if I thought my husband was a perfect person, I'd be constantly disappointed every day, but I'm not because of God. And she's like, you should go to church. And I was like, ugh. But at least it wasn't like what you did in this show and what you talked about.
You're gonna burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't. I mean,
how
maybe
she
it came from that.
handled
but,
that.
I was really offended for him because Zach doesn't care that much.
Yeah, I thought it was nice.
I thought it was rude.
I thought it was nice because like it's like Penn and Teller, famous atheists, of course. They're like whenever somebody says like I'll pray for you, he's like, I'm not offended
I'm
because
not
that's
offended.
like the
I
most.
take,
That's like
you know,
their most. That's what their highest.
it's their show of support for you. That's the way I've looked at it
Means
for
nothing,
the last
but
whatever
Means
7
nothing.
months.
well, no, I mean, it really
I
does.
feel like that's a lot of people's, that's their gift
Yeah.
that they feel like.
I'll
they can
pray
give
for you. It's like, well,
you. I'm like, okay,
well, thank you for being our second
okay,
Letch. It was a good conversation.
okay,
I'll explain to you what Letch is afterward.
all right.
Because we've already done it on here, but thank you. So thank you, and thank you,
Yes, thank you.
Tom and Lynette, for sitting down with us. How did you feel about your representation on Desperate Housewives? By the way, I've heard that it was based on you.
I haven't seen it. Not a single episode.
There you go. That's breaking news.